3 Medicare enrollment mistakes to avoid when you're first eligible for Medicare. That's what we're going to talk about in today's video, so please stay tuned. If you're new to my channel, my name is Jamie from meetjamie.com. I'm a licensed insurance agent. I help people understand how the Medicare program works, and I connect them with the coverage that fits their needs. Best of all, my services are completely free. If you'd like to get in touch with me, you can do so through my website, which is just meetjamie.com. So let's dive into today's video and talk about the Medicare enrollment mistakes to avoid. The very first one I put up today is missing your initial enrollment period. A lot of people don't know this, but when you're eligible for Medicare at 65, you have your own individual initial enrollment period based on the month you turn 65. So the initial enrollment period is a 7-month window that begins 3 months before the month you turn 65, includes your birth month, and extends 3 months after. If you miss this initial enrollment period, you might have to wait to sign up for Medicare, which could result in a gap in your coverage and possible late enrollment penalties. Now, I know what you're thinking. What if I have health insurance through work and I'm going to work past 65? That's a very common question, and we're going to talk about that in the next slide. So, don't assume you don't need Medicare at 65. Before delaying Medicare enrollment, you need to know if the coverage you will be getting after 65, usually through your employer or your spouse's employer, is considered credible coverage. You're going to want to find this out before your initial enrollment period, and you can do so by talking with the HR person at your company. Knowing the size of the company, there's several factors to consider. And then obviously, if you don't have health coverage from your current employment, yours or your spouse's, you should sign up for Medicare during your initial enrollment period to avoid that late enrollment penalty and gaps in coverage. So let's say that you have credible coverage through your employer or through your spouse's employer, and you delay enrolling in Medicare. It's still a good idea to do a cost comparison with that employer coverage and with Medicare. I have seen situations where people are paying more on their employer coverage and getting less coverage than they would on Medicare. This is an important thing to remember. If you delay enrolling in Medicare and you keep your employer coverage through you or your spouse, you should still do a side-by-side comparison to what it would cost you to have Medicare coverage. Some people have great employer coverage and it's phenomenal, and some people, Medicare, they would be far better off doing Medicare because they're going to get better coverage for less money. So make sure that you do a cost comparison beyond just, is it credible coverage? And then finally in this video, what I would say is don't avoid getting prescription drug coverage. So let's say that you sign up for Medicare A and B. A is known as your hospital, B is your medical or outpatient service coverage, and you get your little red, white, and blue card in the mail and you think, hey, I'm good to go, I've got Medicare. Well, a couple things to remember. Number one, there's a 20% gap in coverage. That's why most people add a Medicare supplement. And there's no limit on that 20% gap. That's the first thing. The second thing is there is not prescription drug coverage under traditional Medicare. So most people either sign up for a Part D drug plan and use a traditional Medicare, or they use what's called a Medicare Advantage plan. And most Medicare Advantage plans have prescription drug coverage in it. You may have to pay a late enrollment penalty if you don't put this coverage in place. I've talked to people before who say, well, I have this great discount program, or I get my prescription drugs from a different country. That's all separate to the reality that if you don't have a Part D prescription drug plan or a Medicare Advantage that has prescription drug plan in it, or coverage in it, excuse me, that if you go to sign up for Medicare drug coverage down the road, you're going to have a late enrollment penalty because you're going to have a gap in your coverage. So if you sign up for Medicare and you choose to use original Medicare, make sure that you put a Part D drug plan in place as well. Or if you sign up for a Medicare Advantage plan, make sure that Medicare Advantage plan has prescription drug coverage in it. You don't want to have the lifetime late enrollment penalty because of a gap in credible prescription drug coverage once you start Medicare. So that's all for today's video. If you have other questions, again, you can get in touch with me through my website, meetjamie.com, or you can feel free to leave a comment below and I'll try to answer it in the comments as well. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button, share it with a friend, and again, make sure you've subscribed to my channel. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a great day.